Hey everyone, it's M4J here and welcome back to the OpenTTD tutorials. Last time out then we built this CADTown TMD. Basic tutorial just showing you how to build depots. This time out we're going to sort of employ the same thing, but this time we're going to be looking at stations. So if I come down here, follow the little demonstration line that we've built, here we are then at Brentwood. And again, I've already got a fair idea as to how I want this to look, so I'm gonna get started on it very shortly. Just like with the depot, just like with track laying in general, actually, there's a few principles that you kind of want to establish first, and these are things that you may not have heard me talk about before, but they're actually very important when it comes to station design. Sometimes station designers actually take note of these, but not necessarily always, at least not back in Victorian times when most of London's infrastructure was first built. One of the key things you want to think about is passenger flow. Now, in OpenTTD, passengers teleport to and from your stations, so it doesn't really matter too much in that instance. But there are times, Brentwood don't like me very much, which is, yeah. Also, these are new. Gonna have to explore those at some point. Passengers teleport to stations, that's what I was trying to say. But when you're building realistic looking stations, you do sometimes have to factor in just how are people going to get to and from these constructions. So first of all, let's talk roads, road access. So you see we've got this little street here that is currently accessible. Let's build a road. And we'll do something like that. Now, we can start building our station. Now the first thing we're going to do is remove the existing one. It also requires doing a little bit of re-signaling, which is fine. We can do that. That's a future problem that we'll worry about. Next thing is number of tracks. Now I believe a 4-platform station will be ample for what we want to do here. Therefore we can... Where's the one? There it is. What I was looking for. Therefore we can build a 4-platform station. So, yep, I figured as much. I'm not Brentwood's best friend right now, so we might have to do a little bit of... I was going to bribe them, but actually, this is a fairly good way of doing it as well. You see it on Reddit, you see it on Facebook. I'm going to turn that setting off, because that annoys me. There we go. So now I can place some trees, and Brentwood like me again, which is awesome. So now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to place the first platform there. The second one is going to go directly next to it. The third one is going to go directly next to that. And the fourth one, you guessed it, is basically going to go directly next to that. Now we can build our actual tracks, which are going to be probably 5 tiles long. I think we built them 6 at the other end of the line. I'm just going to build them 5 tiles long here. And then we're going to build a new set of junctions here, and we'll just go with a basic scissors for now. I know this is kind of counteractive to what I said last time out, but sometimes needs must. Let's close all those, and that's why you pin your windows. Again, I'm planning on doing a tutorial in the future as to why, like what I just did then, basically keyboard shortcuts, that kind of thing. So the next thing you might notice with these are the Dutch platform sets, Dutch station sets, whatever you want to call them. We've got some pretty platforms here. Now this is something that I would like to advocate that people do, is make your stations look nice. Why not? There's no harm. So Brentwood station here, we can give it a bit of a glow up, make it look a little bit better, a little bit more attractive. There you go. Now if I come into island, actually island stations could work. What have we got? Something like this perhaps. We could build like so. Or again, if you look at the previews, I wish some of these preview images were a little bit bigger, because you can see the layout of these platforms a little bit better. But for the most part, you know, this is fine. There's nothing wrong with this. And we'll do that one like that. It would be cool if there was one that actually had an extra bit there, but I don't think they're really... Actually, this one might be No, because that's open on that side. It's fine. Again, it doesn't matter too much. Now we can go for island platforms. And we can stick some things down like that. And then I tend to put benches towards the end of the platform. And then the final one is this, which I mentioned a couple of episodes ago. It's actually a waiting shelter, but I use it as a dispatch cabin. So in the UK especially, and there are other countries around the world, in fact pretty much every country around the world will have this, but me being from the UK, that's the example I use. Certain stations, Finsbury Park springs to mind, King's Cross, most of the terminus stations in London, if not all of them, they will have individual panels on platforms where dispatchers can stand and actually dispatch trains from. And it's sometimes a really inconspicuous looking panel on the wall, and the person will go up to it, unlock it with a key, and it's not necessarily, it doesn't control the signal as such, but it gives the driver the right of way symbol. So you might see on platforms there'll be a signal and it'll say RA inside it. That means right away. That means, you know, the road is clear, doors are shut, no one's trying to get on the train, you can go. That's basically what it means. Simple as that. So I use this to represent that. I tend to put them at the ends of platforms. You'll notice I also did it over here at Cadtown. There's one there, there's one there. Now this could be important as well because it could tie into the signaling system. If there's a train coming through, for example, the dispatcher might notice that. It might hold the train back, which means the businessman running over the bridge might actually make his train home. That kind of thing. And also Guardston has it as well. But Guardston needs rebuilding because I went for the Spanish solution platform arrangement there. Again, if you know what that is. It's basically where you have an island platform in the middle and then two side platforms, one either side, funny enough. And the doors will open on both sides of the train, and one side will be entry only and one side will be exit only. And it just means passengers are all moving in the same direction on and off the train, and it helps with congestion and things like that. I might leave Guardston as is for now, but to be honest, Spanish solution really works best on metro stations, and this is not a metro station, so I might leave it for now. Anyway, we've built our platforms. We've gone for 4 platforms. They're all bay platforms. They're all terminating platforms. One other thing I need to do real quick is copy the signal programming, like so. And we're just going to grab the other 3 and share. Again, I hate the size of this UI, but if it means someone watching on their mobile can see, then it is worth it, in my opinion. There we are. So now trains can enter and exit. There is going to be a little bit of a conflicting movement here, but hopefully not too bad. Primarily, the trains will prioritize this platform here, and then it'll be one of these two either side. This bottom one here will be a last resort kind of thing, which is absolutely fine. Now we're going to start talking about eye candy. Now, annoyingly, I've actually built this station in a way where you can't see what I'm going to be doing, which is kind of frustrating. And also, again, with the size of the UI, you won't be able to see what I'm doing anyway. So there's lots of different categories here in Dutch stations. You've got Dutch platforms themselves. These are the Spanish solution ones, platform either side. I do think the Netherlands has that as well for the most part, but not always. You've got station buildings here. You've got non-track tiles, so you can already see how this works. I think these, besides the name, I think these do actually have tracks in certain places. So like this, I think just goes next to the track, which I don't tend to use. And you've got single-sided, which I use a lot, island platforms, island stations, buffer stops. Then you've got normal platforms, which are basically the top ones, but these ones have extra covers and things like that. Then you have normal stations, which are station buildings on the platforms. And then you have non-track stations, and these are the ones that I like. You might have noticed some of the Guard City terminus stations. They've got very, very grand looking buildings outside. So this is Amsterdam Central Station building, which is a very, very pretty building. I've been very fortunate to see it in person. We've also got Hilversum, Delft. Apologies for some of my pronunciations here. Is it Douma? Douma? KNLS. I don't actually know what that is. An HESM. It might not mean anything, or it might mean everything. Who knows? Now, again, there are some missing here that I've used before. I think there are some add-ons that I don't have enabled in this save. I have actually added some extra add-ons since last time, but even then, I think I am missing some. But I'm going to place down a skyscraper here. And then if I go into this, there's also non-track tiles, and that's going to be useful for what I was talking about at the start, which is passenger flow. If I was to place this one here, you see there's a track tile there, but it doesn't actually matter too much. You can't see it through there at all, but it's this ramp, basically. And this is how predominantly passengers are going to get up onto the platforms. And then they're going to go through the glass canopy onto the platforms themselves. You can imagine that's where the ticket barriers are and stuff like that. Now, the last one, I think, is probably just going to be something simple like this. And you can imagine now this is a drop-off road. It's also where passengers walk in. There's a little thing there, and then they walk up. In fact, the smart one here would be to have ticket machines as well, so that passengers can actually buy tickets as they climb up onto the platform. And the other smart one would be to put bike shelters there as well. Again, these are optional. These don't make the stations better. They don't make them worse. But if you want to build pretty stations, this is a good way of doing it, I find. And if I open this right up now, you can see there are lots and lots of different eye candy tiles that you can use. The really cool thing about these ones is these are actually considered part of the station. So if I was to build this one here, for example, you can see there's the catchment. The purple tiles are the catchment area of the station, which means that people will be able to reach the station who otherwise wouldn't be able to because of the extra catchment, which is a really, really neat add-on. You can also build these ones here, for example, for bridges over the tracks, various different types. These ones look... Actually, no, those ones are those ones. That's fine. These ones, I believe, are these ones. And then there's the glass bridge as well, which is a little too modern for my liking for the M4J network, but it does look pretty for something like this, where we're in 2030 right now, but it should be 2022. Day length factor I haven't changed. That's something I'm going to refer to in a future video as well, in case you're sat there scratching your head wondering what the hell that means. You can do a little bit of terraforming around here if you wish. You could even add some extra access points to the platforms if you want to. So say, for example, here. Whoops. Here you want passengers to be able to access the platform there. You can imagine that there's a door there. Doesn't look like there's a door there, but you might have to use your imagination a little bit. You could also imagine for vehicles traveling under the platforms. There you go. You can even do one on the other side if you wanted to. And there's your station underpass. You can add some pretty things like gardens, especially at this end of the track. You don't want people walking onto the line, so there's your garden. You could also, so this bit here, say, you could have more bike shelters. It just makes it look a little bit nicer and a little bit prettier. And like I said with the depots last time out, you could do a little bit of road work as well and tie it all in. So now it looks like they can actually drive under, and if you do the same thing on that side, it looks like they can drive out that side too. Now there are add-ons. When I say add-ons, I mean new GRFs, by the way. It's just easier to say add-ons. Again, you can see I've added some since last time. We've got things like car parking zones, pedestrian walkways, roadways, loading zones, bus zones, overhead car parks, all that kind of stuff. Again, if you've watched the M4J network, you'll recognize some of these. I'm not going to fuss over these today. I don't particularly enjoy placing tiles myself. I do it because it looks realistic, but I hate it. And it's quite strong to use words like that, but I mean, they look amazing. Don't get me wrong. The tiles are amazing. The artists are incredibly talented, but my goodness, can they be a faff to place down sometimes. So I don't have a problem. Again, with those who want to do that, that's absolutely fine. Entirely up to you. But I try to just stick to station tiles because at least I'm doing the decorative side of things and it's also practical, which is why I enjoy doing it. But you can place trees down like this. You could even, where are we? Here. If this wasn't a junction, you could put some waypoints here and have a bridge that goes up and over, and imagine it's a walkway for passengers to get from one side of the station to the other. Unfortunately, the way this works, the bridges won't actually reach. So there's one side and there's the other side, and you would have to put something in the middle. So yeah, it doesn't make much sense. Also, I'm going to do that just to block that off, and I might even do something similar if I remove this tile for a second. Again, press and hold control if you want these to be one station. There you go. And then you can place a tree there, say. And on this side, we might just make it all gardens and make it look pretty. And like this. I feel like I've done this wrong. Have I done this wrong? I've probably done this wrong. Yeah, oh well. We could just do this. And that's our garden. So it's all considered part of the station. It extends the catchment just that little bit. Ignore the fact that you can blatantly see a gap in the fence there. Oh, and one other thing you can do here as well, of course, is you can build pedestrian subways underneath your station too. So again, passengers can go down, under, up. And there are even platform tiles that have stairs as well, which I could probably use. Island platform, these. And you can stick them there. And it just makes it look like they can go down, under, and emerge on the platform over here via a ticket barrier or something which is buried underground. Sometimes as well, that's a little trick too. It's not just what you can see, it's what you can't see. So you can imagine here, there are ticket barriers along the entrance to the platforms here. Or there might be, you know, a footbridge that goes under some of the roofs. This one here you can actually see in, so it wouldn't really work here. But there will be ones where you can pretend that there are various things that you wouldn't otherwise see that can be a big part of how the station functions. I think you can actually see little track pieces there poking through, which is fine. I don't mind that myself. You can put some gardens down. Bear in mind as well that some of these areas might have buildings, but it's good to have it incorporated in. There are also plazas, which are technically industries. They provide passengers, they accept passengers, but they also look like they just belong in a town. And you can build stations around those too if you wish. If you've watched Plintbridge Common Station be built on the M4J network, you'll understand a little bit more about how the plazas and everything there work. And then finally, these are exciting ones too. These are metro platforms. So again, if I was to do this, and then if I was to do this, see how they're the same height, but there's an extra level underneath with tracks. If you want to build metro stations and hide them, you will have to get the tunnel covers as well, which are separate, but there's a really neat way of doing it. And again, it's like you'd never know that that station was there. And that's how, if you look at stations that I've built in Guard City, I've managed to hide entire metro stations purely by adding them to existing structures like this. It's a really neat trick. I think that does it really for the bare essentials of station design. I'm just going to have a quick look at my notes. So yeah, eye candy, platform layouts, interchanges. So yeah, interchanges is another one. And actually that kind of ties in with metro. Say in the future we wanted to build a metro line that runs through Rentwood and heads in this direction. What you could do is if I take the road here, and if I was to redo this, just by lifting the land up there. Again, like with railways, roads have these ledge things. I don't really know what you'd call them, to be honest, but they have those ledge things. Let's say I did this, and then we wanted to build a metro station on the other side of the road, but is considered part of the same station. What you could do is build this. Oh, doesn't reach. It's because my station spread is too small. There it is, maximum station spread. Let's go for 20. I think it's 60 on the M4J. It might even be bigger. I think it's the biggest you can get. There you go, Rentwood. I'm going to build it in this view for now, but then when we come out of this view, you'll see what it looks like. So let's do that, and let's do that. Now if I come out of this view, and if we remove some of these trees that we bribed the local authority with, you can see apart from the fact the land drops away here, if you look on this side, it basically blends in. And if you get the roads with the footpaths either side, it just looks like the road runs through the center of a station, which is really cool. And technically these are a single station, but at the same time they are interchanges. This could also work, like I said a couple of episodes ago, with the signaling. If you had through platforms, so there was another set of platforms over here that continued further to the east, but was considered part of the same station. Again, that's an interchange, or you can have platforms raised above or below. Something that's still relatively new to the game, at least in the JGR patch. I think other patches have had it previously. Again, let me just do a little bit of terraforming here. You can build bridges. Again, 1 second. Some of these I thought were... there we go. Allow stations under bridges and objects under bridges. I might leave that one for now. Docks under bridges is something that you could enable as well. But yeah, you can actually build bridges over stations. And you can even incorporate that in. So let's use Sledwood here as an example. If I was to build this across like that, and then went back over here and we did island platforms. There we go. First of all, I'm just going to replace the ones under the bridge here because there's a little bit of graphics clipping. There will always be a little bit of graphics clipping because you're technically doing something that's not supposed to be done. And then if I did this, see how it looks like now that bridge connects to these stairs. And that's how passengers get on and off the platform. And there you go. That's basics for station design. Hopefully, like with all these tutorials, this has proved quite helpful. Now, there are going to be things that I say and do that you might not be interested in doing yourself. That's absolutely fine. Not everything I advise on is the best way to play the game. It's simply the way I play the game. If you've got your own styles out there, be sure to share them either in the comments down below, or if you head over to my Discord, there's always people talking about their OpenTTD saves there as well. So why not leave some screenshots and that kind of thing. Let's all share our ideas. That's the best way to go in life. Next episode is going to be planning out trains. We're actually at that point now where we can start looking at adding some rolling stock to the network, which even on the M4J network right now is something that I feel like is a long way away. So I'm quite excited about seeing these trains running around on the network here that we've got built. I'm just going to faff around building these bridges as well while I do the outro to this video because I want this station to look nice. Again, sometimes people assume that you just have to use eye candy to make stations look nice, but that's not necessarily the case. You can actually use pretty functional, practical elements to the game to make a station look nice. So for example, here we've got roads running alongside the railway now. Bridges running over the top here just to make it look a little more complete. Even having the road here and the bridge going over the top of it, it just adds that extra little element that you wouldn't otherwise have. I'm always a big fan of actually using what the game gives you. I know not everyone likes to do that, but for me personally, that's a really fun way to play the game as well. If you can make something that's functional as well as looks good, I think you're one step ahead of someone who can make something look good but not necessarily functional. And that's not a dig at people necessarily, but I do see certain things, particularly when it comes to airports. There's a lot of airport designs that just don't work as airports the way the game runs airports. So if you can make something like this that's functional but also looks pretty, yeah, I feel like personally you're a step ahead of everyone else. I might leave those platforms there. They probably won't ever get used, but they do extend the catchment. They might even almost reach into Beddingtown there, which is nice. But yeah, next time we're going to be planning out services. I'm going to show you how to add station orders, how to do a little bit of waypoint usage as well, all that kind of good stuff. So until then, thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed the tutorial, if you found it useful as well. Be sure to check out the full playlist, link is in the description, for all the other things like track laying, signaling, building depots, all that good stuff. If you want to drop some ideas for future tutorials, be sure to do so in the comments below, or head over to my Discord, link is in the description as well, and drop your suggestions there. Otherwise, if you want to make sure that you're around for the next one, be sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell notification as well so you know when the uploads go live. Enjoy the rest of your evening, have fun in the game, and until next time, I will see you soon.